Hi and welcome back to the FreeFormKnits YouTube channel. I'm Haxann Evers, a knit and crocheter. Freeform is a crafting of led to the world of design. If you're new to my channel, thank you so much for stopping by. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. If you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. I upload every Tuesdays and Fridays, so there's always new, exciting, crafty things to talk about. All the patterns I mention and links to anything I mention can be found in the description box below, as well as links to my Ravelry, my Instagram, my newsletter, my tester list. All that stuff can be found in the description box below. So this is episode 38. I've given up trying to remember the numbers because I always get that wrong. I'm coming to you exactly a week later. Yay me. I do want to mention we're back in the basement again. Basement lighting. I was going to try and film this during the day with some natural daylight lighting because that seems to be just better, more reliable, but I just had to come and talk to you about a certain whip. We'll get into that. It's a bit of a tale of woe concerning a sweater yet again. So yeah, we're just going with this. I have time to film. My setup's always changing because I'm trying to figure out what works best, what's reliable. So we're dealing with some lights on the screen on what I'm filming. I film on my phone. It looks decent and stuff, but always when I put it like on a bigger screen when I'm editing, it kind of looks brighter than I would have liked. So I apologize. I'm always trying to figure out sound and lighting and stuff. So I appreciate your grace concerning that. I am sitting, I used to have a chair here and like a desk set up, and I was higher. Now I'm situated on a couch. It's kind of a broken couch at that. So I'm just trying to figure out what works, but let's get into it. I have a lot to talk about, more than I thought possible. I've done a lot of crafting, so we'll just get into it. I have stuff gathered around me. We'll try and go through it as organized as we can. So the first finished object we'll talk about is this one, since it was a whip last time. This is a I think they're referred to as 5-point blankets. It's like a star-shaped crochet blanket. This is a pattern I was following a tutorial by the Crochet Crowd. I'll have a link to the tutorial I followed down below. So this little stitch marker from Knit Picks is one of their enamel stitch markers, and I love it so much. It's so pretty. They had like a set of crystals, and this was one of them. So this is where I was last time. I didn't go much further than last time. I almost finished the skein. I probably could have done at least one more round, I think, but I didn't because I was worried about running out. And then my plan was originally to do a thicker border than what I did. I only did one round of single crochet in pattern all the way around because I was lazy. Ain't that the reason why many of my projects come to an end or get brought? Because I was lazy. So what I used for the border, well, what I used for the main part of the blanket was Yarn Bee Sugar Wheel Cotton Solids in the lovely lilac colorway. I ended up using, they're 142 grams per skein, I believe. So I ended up using a little bit more, 2 skeins. Kind of hard to tell because of how I had it situated in my stash. Sorry, there was a hair on something on there, so I just want to make sure that wasn't cracked. It's okay. That's what I used for the main part of the blanket, and then the border is actually Lion brand True Boo in like the white colorway. I think it's just called white. So I just did a single crochet border and called it done. It needed some kind of border. I'm proud of myself. I even did one border. I originally intended to do 3 to 5 rounds of single crochet at the minimum, but I cut that down to one round. It really needed something, I felt like it needed something to finish it off. I'm kind of happy with it. It's not bad. It's hard to tell like the size of these things when you're making them. I tried to put a picture of this on my Instagram and it's like impossible to get a good picture of it unless you're holding it up. So it's hard to get it in frame. So it's a good size. It's a decent, baby blanket size. So it'll be a gift for someone, I'm sure. But it was just nice to use that yarn, and this cotton, just 100% cotton, just feels really nice. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm happy that it did this shape, because I talked about in my last episode how it was hard to find a pattern for this. Not find a pattern, but follow the written instructions for it. So just watching the tutorial is like, if you want to make this, just watch the tutorial. It's much easier in my opinion, because I don't know. But I'm really happy that this is a finished object, and yeah, that's that. I have to stop saying that. I say that at the end of every time I show a finished object. I say that's that, because that is that. Just gonna reach and put it over there. And my next finished object, because I have multiple. I actually have, okay, I have three. Actually, I dropped one, didn't I? Nope, it's here. Okay. We'll talk about crochet finished objects. I did make one small thing. It's really very small. So my phone, it's cold where I am. I live in the state of Pennsylvania, and it's cold because it's November. And I have this like fear of my devices being cold. Like, maybe it's kind of not totally irrational. Like, my phone is always cold. Like, I touch it and it's cold, and that worries me, because when, like, did anyone else, like, when I was little, I had the DS Lite, the Nintendo DS Lite, and every winter, all my siblings and I, our DS Lites, they would get cold, and their screens, something would go wrong with the, like, the top screens. Like, there would be, like, at the very minimum, a crack in the screen. Not like not like the device was cracked, but like the what's that called? I knew the word. But just like something in the screen, the thing that made the images, you know, the graphics, like something in there would just be so cold that it would go black. And so we would wrap our devices up, put them somewhere like under our pillows and things to keep them warm. I don't know why they did that. Our house wasn't that cold, but that's what we did. And so I have this, whenever my devices are cold, I get worried, especially with Bluetooth, like Bluetooth devices. My like, I have headphones, Bluetooth headphones. If they get cold, they shut themselves off to protect themselves. Like, after certain temperatures they reach, they just shut themselves off to keep themselves protected. So I'm kind of very aware of my devices being cold. That's kind of a tangent, but that's what goes through my head whenever like in winter when my devices are being cold. So all that to say is, I made myself a phone case, and this tail has to be cut. I haven't done that yet because I don't know, my snips are too far away to reach. I thought I'd cut that now, but I just made this very simple single crochet case to put my phone in. I have a iPhone SE. I would put it in here to show you, but I'm filming on it, so that's what I made, this little phone case. It's just single crochet. I made it out of Knit Picks twill, and so it's a nice wool, so it's very tight. Like, it looks small, but like the phone fits very snugly in there, so I'm confident it's warm. And I did this little crochet chain and put this really cute button on it. It's a storybook. I got these buttons, they're like storybook themed, and this one says Once Upon a Time, which I love, because as nice as it is as a fairy tale opening, it's also one of my favorite shows ever, Once Upon a Time. So I really like this, and I'm happy and happy and reassured that my phone will be safe this winter. So that's a finished object. It really no. Well, what I did is, like, I chained, I think 11, so, and then I went around, so it's like a rectangle in the round. So 22 stitches, and then just single crocheted all the way around, so it was long enough, and did a chain, and nothing exciting, but I did do this, and I did this very quickly, as I should have, because it's a small project, obviously, so I'm counting it as a finished object. So that's, I said it again. Moving on. We'll transition out of that phrase. I finished not one pair of socks. I finished 2 pairs of socks, and I'm so happy. So these were work in progress last time. These are my garter rib bliss socks, but in DK. So I have a fingering weight sock pattern with this stitch pattern, but I used the numbers from my Delightful Knit sock pattern, which is my DK weight sock pattern. These are knit out of Yarn Bee Sweet Delight. Yes, Yarn Bee Sweet Delights in the blue pink colorway. Just a nice pink pair of socks, and I did my shortcut heel in garter stitch with my hat trick toe, and they're just really nice and cozy. It's such a fun stitch pattern, and they just really, really quick to knit once I sat down and worked on them. Like that's been my, I want to work on socks and yet I don't want to work on socks. I think I just want socks because like I said, it's been cold, and I wear my handmade socks all year round, like all season. Even in the heat of summer, I'm wearing my wool socks. And just in this colder weather, my feet have been cold even in those warm wool socks. So I've been leaning towards more DK weight socks and worsted weight socks because my feet just get so cold. So cold. I don't do well in the cold weather. I realize this every year. I think the turning, like, we're still in fall technically, but like the colder days of fall, it's just always every year I'm just so cold. So as much as I love wearing all the knitwear, I'm just so cold, and I'll be cold until well into April. And it's not even like I feel silly saying that, like I know, like I'm in Pennsylvania, so I'm in the north, but just there were colder places, but I'm cold. I'm always cold. Anyway, these are these socks, and I'm happy they're done, and I can't wait to wear them. I actually have quite a bit of finished new DK socks to wear, so I just have to put them in my sock drawer, sock place where I go to pick out socks, you know? I knit these on a 4, I think, which is, I don't remember the millimeters for the smaller sizes. A 6 is a 4 millimeter. 5 is a 3.75, so I assume a 4 is a 3 or 3.25. Go with that, 3.25. Yours 4 is what I did that out of, and that's the first pair of socks. And the second pair of socks, ho, I did it. I actually sat down and finally finished the second sock of this pair. It's probably been 3 weeks at least, probably more, since I did the first sock. It's this beautiful, I put 2 on the blocker, I shouldn't have done that. Should leave 1 off the blocker so I can show you this beautiful stitch pattern that is so fun to do and is easy to memorize if you work on the socks and pay attention to the pattern. I think that was my biggest thing about this sock pattern. So this is the pattern I'm designing. It'll be coming out later this year. You will see it very soon. I will actually be looking for testers for this very, very soon. So if you're interested in being a tester for this sock, sign up to my tester newsletter down below. That's a email list where anytime I have a need for testers, I send out, you get a notification about it. Signing up to the email list does not mean you have to agree to every test. It's just a way for you to know about it. So if you want to test these, sign up to that so that you'll get the notification right away, and it'll take you to the Ravelry group where we hold the test. Anyway, so this will be coming out very soon, and it's super fun, super easy, but my biggest thing about it was just I was working on it in a time where I just couldn't focus on it. Like I think I was working on this just when we got our new puppy. So obviously I was watching him and making sure he doesn't, get into anything. And not the best time to work on lace when you're watching a rambunctious little dog. But it's so pretty. It's got a little bit of garter on the sides, and it's got this leaf motif, and I did the patterning on the back and front, so you actually get this. I love this little detail sometimes in socks. These little seams, so you have this clear distinction of the front and back on your needles, and just creates this nice detail. It's got my shortcut heel stockinette, my hat trick toe in DK. I love it so much. So this yarn is also Yarn Bee Sweet Delight in the bubblegum colorway. Super pretty speckled pink, and it took me so long to get around to knitting the second sock, but I did. And do you want to know how long it took to knit this sock? Less than a day. Less than a day. That's how long it took to knit this sock. I think I not only did this sock in a day, but that same day is when I finished this blanket. So these can fly off your needles if you work on them. Anything can fly off your needles or hook if you work on it. Something new. You learn something new every day. I'm so happy to have these done. I'm really excited about the pattern. It's going to be so nice, and I can't wait to release them and so you can make a pair, and it's just so much fun. It's so much fun. DKWA socks are so much fun. I think there's a lot of anxiety around sock knitting, like new sock knitters. I remember I felt it too. Like there's just like I don't know what to do. You know, and you build it up so much in your head, and then you knit your first pair of socks. You're like, yes, and then you make a fingering weight pair usually, and then you're like, there's so much hesitation. It took me so long to finally knit a DKWA pair of socks. I don't know why. They're so much fun and so fast, and having patterning on them, they just literally fly if you work on them. A sock in a day, not even a whole day. I wasn't knitting the whole day. I was knitting a lot, but not the whole day. And yeah, I love them so much. So that's another pair of socks. I got 2 new pairs of DKWA socks. That's great. That takes us out of finished objects for crochet and knitting, but I do have, I'm counting the finished objects. I spun again. Granted, I did just spin these today. No, I spun 2 of these today. I spun these 2 today. I didn't spin them. I plied them. Sorry, I'm not that fast. This I plied. When did I ply this? Did I ply this? I didn't ply this today. I plied this a while ago. I don't remember. Probably soon after the last podcast. That's when I applied this. I can't recall what I showed last time. Maybe I applied this last podcast. Maybe I'm repeating myself. Maybe I don't have 3 more finished objects. Yeah, I think I applied this last podcast. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's the same fiber as this one, but this one is neater. This one I just plied. So I had some singles still in my spinning box that I applied before starting a new spin because I was being responsible. And I'm really surprised at them. Like, it's made me want to get back into spinning more because these singles, I spun them, I had them sitting in my box for so long. And I'm surprised at how consistent I was getting. I was like really getting, I don't know why I stopped spinning again. I don't know why, but I want to get back into it because like there are some spots in here that I'm really proud of, and I'm proud of how easy it was to ply because it used to dread plying, which is stupid because literally it's not that hard and it shouldn't be a big deal, but there are some spots in this I'm so proud of. And I have quite a bit of these mini skeins now, so I have an idea for a pattern to use them up because like with hand spun, like it's not consistent. As good as I get, it probably will never be all that consistent, but so there's like, you don't want to just make any pattern because your gauge is going to change. So I have this idea for a hat pattern that I really want to do, and I think I have enough now to do that, so that's really exciting. I still don't know the name of the fiber. I can't find it on Hobby Lobby's website, and that's only because their website is not the best. But I know it's, I think it's Showstopper. Is that it? It might be Showstopper. Yarn Bee Showstopper. I actually have, I'm going to grab it. So I don't have the label, but this is what they look like. It's these big balls of roving. And I think it's meant to be arm knit or to be like thrums for mittens, but this is what it is. I think it's their Showstopper line. It's Yarn Bee Showstopper. That's what I'm going with. And this is probably blush pink or something like that. And that's what I use to spin. I prep the fiber and everything, and it's accessible fiber I can grab and I can like shop for physically and spin. So that's what I use to spin these, and they're great. I'm really excited to start a new spin and eventually knit with that. But I have quite a few things. Well, I always say that I have quite a few things on the needles and hooks, but too much, not too much, but some. And that's my finished object, so we'll get into whips. We'll start with something that was a work in progress last time, and that is my Southwood Sweater by, I forget, I had it. It starts with a G. Galt House of Yarn. Yes, Galt House of Yarn. My Southwood. Not much progress. I did finish the skein. So I talked about how I wanted to finish the skein of yarn before starting my sleeve, and I did. So everything from the top to where I put this on hold, that's 199 grams of yarn all knit up. And now I only just started my sleeve. I just picked up and I have to knit. I have a little bit of concern about the sleeve because I know the reason I'm making the sweater is because it looks like the perfect sweatshirty fit, like store-bought raglan sweater, you know, ones with the, I can't think of what they're, like the proper image in my head, like a Gap pullover sweater, something like that, like really simple sweatshirt thing, like not a hoodie like this, but a proper sweatshirt, more like this, what I have underneath. I'm cold, so I'm wearing 2 sweaters. But that's why I picked this pattern. But I do have, as always when knitting a sleeve, I have this fear of it being too baggy under the arm. I hate that. I don't like how that looks on me, but I think I'm gonna try and trust the pattern and knit the sleeve according to pattern and see how it looks. It probably won't be as bad as I'm building up in my head about the fit. It should be okay. So that's what I'm working on. The yarn is I Love This Yarn in the Arctic Ice colorway. I'm using 5.5 millimeter needles, US size 9s, and these are my Knit Picks nickel plated interchangeable set, which is my favorite. And I use a 40-inch cord for my sleeves just because the 32-inch is too small to start out with for when you have more stitches, but the 16-inch I'll have too few stitches to work with very quickly, though I do have to knit, I think, like 5 inches stockinette with what I have, so maybe I'll use a 16-inch, maybe it'll go faster. I don't know. This is kind of at the point where like it's too big to just pull out and work on whenever, because I have it in like this bag of mine. But I know once I do this first sleeve, the rest will just fly. Like the first sleeve takes forever. Sleeve Island is just one sleeve. The next sleeve will fly if I just work on this one. I just need to pick a day. I find that's when I hit roadblocks with my projects, I need to just pick a day to work on one project, and then that hurdle I'm on, I'll get over. You know, it'll be done. It doesn't even take a day, but if I set aside one whole day for it, then anything else I accomplish in addition to that is a plus, you know? So, but I'm not in a hurry to get done with that. Why am I not in a hurry to get done with that? I don't remember. I had a plan. I forgot the plan. I've been thinking about starting like a craft journal, you know, like a project planner stuff, you know, because of moments like this where I can't literally recall why I'm not in a rush to get this done. Like, I want the sweater, but why? Yeah, I shouldn't do this so late. But I did this podcast this late because I needed to talk about this other whip that I was really enjoying. Guys, I was enjoying this whip so much. And it went wrong because it's my fault. It's totally my fault. And I'm so... Okay, so I made a video a few weeks ago about 5 crochet cardigan patterns I really want to make. And I made the Cafe Au Lait. And now I'm making I think the second one on my list, or I don't think I ordered them in any particular way. The Cameo Cardigan by, I think, Crochet Creation, something. I'll have it on the screen. The Cameo Cardigan. And it's done side from side, like the Cafe Au Lait cardigan. But there's no seaming. You don't have to do any seaming. You can just slip stitch the shoulders, and I loved that idea. It's not that I minded like sewing or single crocheting the shoulders closed. I just thought it would be really cool to not have to do that. And thus the story begins. So the yarn I'm using, I had to grab the label, is Yarn Bee Soft and Sleek Low Pill Fiber in the purple gray multi colorway. And these are 100% low pill acrylic, 114 grams per 186 yards. This is the label. So, I got far, guys. I got far. The body is done. Can you, well, maybe you can't because the yarn is so stripy. Can you tell what's wrong? Can you see what's wrong? So first off, I will say I love this pattern. The pattern's really good. Like the instructions for the pattern, really good. The only complaint I would say is that the gauge, what she tells you to do for gauge, was really confusing. I think she was over explaining it, which made it complicated. Like she was trying to really explain it really well, what she meant, and so she ended up over explaining it so that I literally think I know what the gauge is now after starting the cardigan and working it and looking back and seeing what she meant. But like if I opened I'm following it off her blog, I opened the blog post and look, you know, okay, this is what I need for my hook, my yarn, get to the gauge. No idea what she was talking about. Literally no idea. But I think she was like over explaining it, because like she wants you to do your gauge swatch in pattern, and the patterning is 1 row of single crochet, 1 row of double crochet. And she wanted you to do a how did she phrase it? Like end up with a 4x4 gauge swatch, you know, and you'll end up with 5 rows of double crochet and 5 rows of single crochet. That's like, that should measure 4 inches high. But it made it sound like the gauge swatch was supposed to be do 5 rows of double crochet and 5 rows of single crochet, which is a weird stitch pattern. So I literally didn't even check gauge. I just decided, well, that'll fit someone. And I was planning to just use the same hook size for my Cafe au Lait cardigan, which was a 6mm. I went down to a 5.5mm hook. And I'm happy. I like the fabric I'm getting. And this does fit. I don't know if it fits her. I don't think I'm on gauge. I didn't check what the finished measurements are supposed to be. I literally decided I just want to make this cardigan. I want to see how the yarn stripes up like this. And I really love how it looks. Like, this is a multi-yarn. It's variegated yarn. So doing it up and down like this is really cool. I love that. So other than that gauge, like her gauge explanation being a little suspect, like being little I don't understand, like this probably needs, it needs to be, I think needs to be more, like, what am I trying to say? Less in depth, like she was trying to say, she was doing what I'm doing now, explaining it too much. Like, it just tell me how many stitches per inch, you know? Anyway, other than that, the pattern's great. I love the pattern, it's great. The problem is me. The problem starts with, so you start here. This is your cast on, or your chain, your starting chain. And you crochet, and then you do the armhole, and then you crochet, and because she says, you know, she doesn't like seaming, so she did it all in one piece, all you have to do is slip stitch the edges together as you're crocheting them. Great. I can do that. So I thought. I've had this problem before. This is what took me so long to understand to crochet ribbing. You know, I talked about that in my Cafe au Lait cardigan. I'm not good at, you know, doing an applied ribbing or just applied stitches. Like, I get the counts wrong. I got the counts wrong. I was doing too many, wasn't seaming enough here. I wasn't stitching down, slip stitching enough. I did it too many times. Like, I wasn't traveling enough when I slip stitched. So what happens is that I have taken up too much fabric here. And I realized that halfway through it, and then I started doing it differently. Like, I started reaching more with my slip stitches, traveling more over more space with my fabric, which fixed it a little, but it didn't change the fact that I had done it too much in the beginning. So I'm here in my work, and I end up with, you know, this big portion over here, and then it kind of slides down here. And I think to myself, well, I could rip back. And I think, no, I'll just fix it on the other side. I'll make it work. Because in my head, I travel too much over here. So when I do the other side, I'll just add more rows. That's not how it works. I got over here and I did the slip stitching. I did it perfectly this time. And obviously, or maybe not so obviously because it's in this yarn, it's so hard to see, this side is wider than this side. So I thought, okay, well, here I am where I knew I would end up. How many rows is it? And then it dawns on me. This is the same amount of rows. The problem is not with the rows. The problem is with how many times, how few stitches I reached over here and how many I reached over here. The rows are the same. It's that this fabric is stretched, or more, there are more stitches, more slip stitches in here than there are here. And trying to duplicate that would be probably impossible. What's really funny is when I was over here working on this piece, I didn't want to rip back because I had used up a whole skein of yarn. That was a whole day's work. So And now I have 3 skeins of yarn in this. And to get over here to fix this, I have to frog 3 whole skeins. I have to basically take out this whole sweater. This is my fault. I felt I have to laugh about it because otherwise it's just gonna be, it's very typical. It's very expectant of me. I can, you know, I felt uneasy about as I was going on with it and thinking, and then I looked at it and thought, it'll be fine. No, it's a mistake. It's a very obvious mistake, and had I thought about it more than just 5 seconds, I would have realized that. But no, I did not. I was lazy, I didn't want to go back, and now I'm paying for it by going back basically into a sweater. The plus side is I'm really enjoying the make. Like I'm loving the back and forth double and single crochet. It's really fun and soothing. What I don't love is that I have to basically do this whole thing again because there's no way to take out the shoulder seam and fix it because I slip stitched. I slip stitched the shoulder seam. I had thought about not slip stitching the shoulder seam and just doing it regularly, sewing it, but I thought, no, this is how the pattern's written. I'll try it, and it'll be a fun new technique to know. Well, I learned it on this side, but I didn't fix it on this side. So this has to be frogged. Oh well. On the plus side, I think it does fit me. I mean, I'll try it on once more to be sure, but maybe I'll add rows in the back just because of gauge that I didn't bother to check. You know, maybe I'm getting gauge. I have no idea. I don't know. I think I talked about it last episode or the episode before about how, you know, finally sweaters were going my way. No. Maybe sweaters would go my way more if I didn't make such mistakes like this. Like, you could have seen it. Like, I'm just kicking myself for not realizing and not fixing it when I knew I had to fix it. So, I wanted to talk about this tonight because I want to make sure I frog it soon and fix the mistake and get back on track with it before I decide, no, before I lose the urge to do that. Because I am really enjoying it. It's really pretty. And I do like the pattern. And I love how the yarn is striping up. I love it. It's really great. And I want the cardigan. So I do think, like I talked about my cafe outlet cardigan, I used 5 skeins, like exactly. Almost exactly. And that was on a bigger hook. So I'm down a hook size on this, but I don't know if the yarn name, the Yarn Bee brand and the yarn, well, they're both Yarn Bee, but the different lines, if they have the same yardage. So I might run out of yarn for this, even though my hook size is smaller, and the stitch pattern itself, well, actually double crochet, and that was half double crochet. So I don't know, maybe that plays a part in it. Long story short, I might not have enough yarn, so I figure I'll do it has a big collar, and maybe even some of the sleeves in like solid white or even gray. I have gray. Ooh, we could do that. That might match. I kind of like the idea of white. I don't know. I might have to use a contrast is all I'm saying. But why did I get on that? I don't know. I have to frog this soon before I lose momentum is basically the reason we're here right now. So, yep. On the bright side, I picked up a languishing whip. So this languishing whip, you haven't seen for months. My plan upon starting this whip was to do 1 chart a week for, I think there are 8 charts, so 8 weeks, and have it done. That didn't happen because I put it down because I lost momentum. But it is my road to Stars House scarf, and it's a free pattern on Ravelry, and it's this Gilmore Girls themed scarf. I love Gilmore Girls. There's a quote in Gilmore Girls. They're sitting around watching TV and they say they're watching a program. I don't know the program. Bad Gilmore Girls fan moment. I don't know the program. Oh, Donna Reed. They're watching Donna Reed. They say, Donna Reed's not just a TV show. It's a lifestyle. It's a religion. That's how I feel about Gilmore Girls. So I'm really excited to be doing this scarf. It's a double knit scarf, and I love the technique of double knitting. I've done it quite a few times in the past. Never as complicated as this, but I am working on it, and it's got snowflakes and loops and more snowflakes, which are the hardest thing to do. like, this is not a hard project. Like, it looks complicated. But if you know the double knitting technique, it's really not hard. It's just basically color work. It's really not that hard. It's really, like, it looks intimidating. I wouldn't recommend starting with this, but if you get good at the technique of double knitting, then this will be a breeze. It's actually easier than color work because you don't have floats to deal with. But I'd say the hardest part of this is this big snowflake. I'll never be over it. This big snowflake. The snowflakes are the hardest part. So I'm working on another chart, and last time you saw it, I had just finished the dragonfly chart. And I'm in the middle of another chart, and another big snowflake, which was easier than the last one. And I don't think I made a mistake. At least not a visible one. And this is one side. I don't know which side the camera's going to show you as. I think the camera flips it. So like this is like the wrong side to me, and that Luke's is backwards. But right now it looks like the right side, but I think the camera inverts everything. So I don't know what you're seeing. I'm using Yarn Bee Sweet Delight again in just white and gray. I haven't had to switch my skeins yet, but they're kind of floppy inside this bag, so I'm not going to pull them out. I think I'm using 7s. US 7? Yes, US size 7. These are my Knitter's Pride needles, actually. Hobby Lobby was selling these very nice needle tips for a while, but they stopped. And this is the project. It's really fun to work on. Seriously, like it takes me, I need to focus on it because I need to follow the chart. And I don't have a chart keeper, so what I do to really is it's a free pattern, so I'm not giving anything away by showing you the chart. I have a pen and I just mark off the row I just did, and I put in, this is key, I put an arrow indicating which direction I just finished in. So, you know, because knitting color work flat, you know, you have to read the chart one way and then another way. And so those arrows will save your life. So that's what I'm doing. And this chart's really fun. This chart is it's a long chart. So like I numbered the rows, like how many rows the chart is, and figured out how many rows I have to do a day to get it done in 5 days. So I'll get it done definitely within a week. And this chart is coffee, 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 which is, if you know Gilmore Girls, then that'll make you smile. Coffee, coffee, coffee. So this has really been nice to get back in this project because I love it. I love this project. And it's really fun. I've been working on it in the morning when I have more certain uninterrupted time to really look at the chart and follow it. Less chance of making a mistake. But right now it fits nicely in this drawstring bag I made. It's got bunnies and a fun stripey pattern inside with, not stripes, different shapes, different patterns inside. So it fits nice in here. So that's been nice to work on. I think I do need to cast on. I know I have some projects that are either waiting to be cast on or are cast on. I can't remember. I know I have a few whips that I haven't touched and have put aside. But I need something small and plain. Either I might cast on a vanilla sock or something smaller than the sweater. Like I know the sweater's vanilla, but something smaller that I can just pull out and work on whenever. This was my project to do that. But depending on how I feel after I frog it, I don't know. I can feel myself losing momentum right now. Oh well. That's everything for this video. Thank you so much for stopping by and crafting with me today. If you have a moment, please take a moment to comment down below something you are working on. I would love to hear about it. And I'll see you next time, hopefully with probably not the same amount of crafty stuff, but a decent amount. I'm kind of proud of how much I got done in a week. Yeah. Well, yeah. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, and happy crafting!